Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we're diving into a topic that's both fascinating and a little creepy. Deepfakes. You know, those videos you see online that look incredibly real, but something feels just a bit off. We're going to break down exactly how these digital illusions are made, explore their potential to revolutionize fields like entertainment and education. And of course, we have to address the dark side, the potential for misinformation, manipulation, and even harm. To help us unpack all of this, we've got an expert joining us today. Welcome. So glad to have you here.
Thanks for having me. Glad to be here.
So, deepfakes. Where do we even begin? I mean, for folks who might just be hearing about this for the first time, what exactly are we talking about here?
In the simplest terms, a deepfake is a video that's been manipulated using artificial intelligence to show someone doing or saying something they never actually did.
It's like super advanced, hyper-realistic Photoshop, but for videos.
Okay.
And it seems like every other week there's a new deepfake video going viral. Politicians saying outrageous things, celebrities in compromising situations. It's getting harder and harder to tell what's real.
And that's the real danger here, isn't it? The erosion of trust. When you can no longer believe what you see, it undermines our shared reality.
Okay, before we spiral down that rabbit hole, let's back up a bit. How does this even work? Is it really as simple as feeding a bunch of photos and videos into a computer and saying, make magic?
It's a bit more complicated than that, but the core concept is actually pretty straightforward. It all comes down to these things called generative adversarial networks, or GANs.
Yans. Sounds intense.
The name is a mouthful, but the idea is pretty cool, actually. Imagine two AIs, right? They're pitted against each other. One, the generator, creates fake videos, while the other, the discriminator, tries to spot the fakes.
It's like a digital game of cat and mouse.
Exactly. And just like in a real game of cat and mouse, both sides get better over time. The generator becomes more sophisticated at creating realistic fakes, and the discriminator becomes better at spotting them.
So it's this constant arms race between these two AIs that results in these crazy, realistic deepfakes we're seeing.
Precisely.
Wild. Okay, so now that we understand the how, let's talk about the why. Why are people creating these things in the first place? I mean, obviously, some people are using them for malicious purposes. We'll get to that. But there are actually some really interesting, even positive applications of deepfake technology out there, right?
Absolutely. And that's what's so fascinating about this technology. It has the potential for both good and bad.
Let's start with the good.
Yeah.
What are some of the ways deepfakes could be used for positive change?
Well, one area where deepfakes are already making waves is entertainment.
Yeah, that Rogue One movie where they brought back Peter Cushing as Grand Moff Tarkin, that was incredible.
Exactly. It was a groundbreaking use of CGI and facial mapping technology. Now, imagine what filmmakers could achieve with even more advanced deepfake technology.
It could revolutionize the way movies are made. You could have actors from different eras starring alongside each other. The possibilities are endless.
And it's not just about recreating the past. Deepfakes could be used to create entirely new forms of storytelling. Imagine interactive films where you, the viewer, could actually influence the narrative through deepfake technology.
That's mind-blowing. What about beyond entertainment? Any other cool applications you're excited about?
Absolutely. Think about education. Imagine history lessons where instead of just reading about Abraham Lincoln, students could watch him deliver the Gettysburg Address with startling realism. Or picture medical students learning anatomy from a virtual Leonardo da Vinci explaining the human body in his own words.
Wow. Talk about making learning immersive. It would be like stepping back in time or having a front row seat to the greatest lectures ever given.
That's the power of this technology, and we're just scratching the surface of what's possible.
Okay, this is all super cool, but we can't ignore the elephant in the room. For all the good deepfakes can do, there's also a very real potential for harm.
Yes, absolutely. And that's the conversation we need to be having as a society.
We're already dealing with an epidemic of misinformation online. Fake news articles, doctored photos. Deepfakes just take it to a whole new level.
It's not just about spreading lies anymore. It's about eroding trust in our institutions, in each other, and in the very idea of truth. That's a scary thought.
It is. Have you ever seen a video online and thought, wait a minute, is that real? Now imagine that doubt magnified 1,000-fold. We're talking about potentially influencing elections, manipulating financial markets, even inciting violence, all through the spread of incredibly convincing fake videos.
And the scary part is, it's only going to get harder to detect these fakes as the technology gets better.
Exactly. And with social media algorithms designed to spread sensational content, even if a deepfake is debunked, the damage might already be done.
It's that old saying, A lie can travel halfway around the world while the truth is putting on its shoes. Except with deepfakes, the lie is wearing rocket boots.
Okay, so we've talked about the potential for deepfakes to be used for good and bad on a societal level, but it can also impact us on a much more personal level, right?
Absolutely, and that's something that often gets overlooked in these discussions.
Like that whole world of deepfake pornography, which is just horrifying.
It's a disturbing trend. Imagine someone creating a sexually explicit video of you without your consent and then sharing it online. It's a violation on so many levels.
It's terrifying. And the damage to someone's reputation, their mental health, their relationships, it could be devastating. And it's not just deepfake porn. We're talking about the potential for blackmail, revenge porn, all sorts of digital abuse.
And because it's so easy to spread these videos online, the victim can feel like they're being victimized over and over again every time the video is shared. It's a nightmare scenario.
Absolutely. So knowing all of this, what can we do? I mean, is there any way to stop this train? Or are we just hurtling towards a future where we can't trust anything we see?
It's not a hopeless situation, but it does require a multi-pronged approach.
Okay, so what needs to happen? Give us some hope here.
Well, for starters, tech companies need to step up. They have a responsibility to develop better tools for detecting and labeling deepfakes.
Yeah, like better algorithms, watermarking systems, things like that.
Exactly. And making those tools easily accessible to users so we can all be more informed consumers of online content.
But technology alone isn't enough.
Right. We also need stronger regulations. Laws that specifically address the creation and distribution of malicious deepfakes, particularly those used for harassment or spreading false information.
Definitely. And we can't forget about media literacy. We all need to be more critical of what we see online. If a video seems too outrageous to be true, it probably is. And even if it comes from a source you trust, double check it. A little bit of skepticism can go a long way.
Absolutely. Don't just hit that share button without thinking critically about what you're sharing and who you're sharing it with.
It's on all of us to be more responsible digital citizens. This is such a complex issue with no easy answers.
It really is, but that's why it's so important to be having these conversations. The more aware we are of the potential benefits and risks of deepfakes, the better equipped we'll be to navigate this brave new world.
Well said. And that's a perfect note to end on. Thank you so much for joining us today and sharing your expertise. It's been incredibly insightful, if a little terrifying.
It was my pleasure. Hopefully a healthy dose of fear is what we need to stay vigilant.
That's right. To our listeners, thanks for joining us for another deep dive. And remember, in the age of deepfakes, seeing isn't always believing. Until next time, stay curious, stay critical, and stay safe.